right, welcome to another episode of Piecing It Together, the podcast where we take a look at a new movie and try to figure out what movies inspired it. But today is one of our special monthly trailer roundup episodes. Jason Harris from Awesome Movie Year is back with us, as he has been every month since we started these trailer episodes, to look at 7 new movies coming out in April 2021. We are looking at a wide range of films. Some coming to theaters, some coming to Netflix and Amazon Prime and all that. And as always, a lot of great movies coming your way. And we'll see. Maybe we'll cover some of these with full episodes. And if not, at least we get a couple of puzzle pieces in along the way. So that is coming up in a second. Before we get to the conversation, though, I do want to remind you, as always, to make sure you're subscribed to Piecing It Together wherever you listen to podcasts. If you like what we do here on the show, you can rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Piecing Pod. You could also join our Facebook group, Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces, where we continue the conversation about all the movies we talk about here on the show. And last but not least, don't forget, we have a Patreon, the Produced by David Rosen Patreon, which combines advanced and bonus content from Piecing It Together and Awesome Movie Year and my music career and basically everything that I'm involved with. It's the Produced by David Rosen Patreon. That's patreon.com/bydavidrosen. Lots of great content over there. I got some great stuff hitting that today, I believe. You know what? I record these things in advance, and sometimes I get myself screwed up with dates, so it might not be today, but I think it's going to be today. So the today that this episode goes up on the main feed, I think something's hitting the Patreon too. So I'm getting myself mixed up here, but check that out. And let's get into this conversation about some movies that are coming out in April. All right, Jason Harris is back with us to look at some more movie trailers for the month of April. Jason, how's it going, man?
Dave, it's going well. By the time this hits the air, I will probably have seen a movie in the theater again. Hooray, vaccines.
That is amazing. I will just be getting my second one, which means I have to wait 2 more freaking weeks, but 2 more weeks I could do after an entire year of this shit. Looking forward to it, though.
You can do it.
Yeah,
you can do it. It's nice to do things again.
Yes, yes, it very much is. Well, as we've been doing the last couple of months, we're going to take a quick look back at what we covered in March, just to see if the two of us have seen any of it. Before we get into the new movies, in March we talked about Moxie, which I have not seen. Did you watch that?
No, I didn't. The trailer did not make it look. It just looked like a jumble of stuff to me.
Raya and the Last Dragon, which I had already seen at the point of recording last time. Did you get to check that one out?
I think it's on my list. As we're going to record this, my daughter has her spring break coming up, so that might be one we go see in the theater, even though she's seen it already.
Nice, nice. Chaos Walking is up next, which I have not seen yet. I've heard nothing but kind of bad things about, but I might check out one of these days.
I think you should check it out and report back to us.
Okay, will do. Coming to America, which I fell asleep during. I know you did not like it.
Maybe one of the most disappointing movies in the last few years.
Jeez. Yeah, that's a shame. That's a shame.
Yeah.
I doubt I'll give it another chance. It was not good up until the point that I had fallen asleep. So, but Boss Level, which we both loved, I think.
Boss Level is amazing. It's so much fun. The most decapitations I've ever seen in a film, I think. So, really fun movie. Yeah.
Very fun. We did not do an episode on it, but everyone listening, if you haven't seen it, do check it out. Next up is Yes Day, which I did not get around to. I think I saw that you watched it, though, right?
I did. I watched it with my daughter. She's seen it twice. She likes it. It's very simple, and but you know, it was a good, easy 90 minutes for the kids. I'm not recommending it, but if you need something to watch with your kids, you could do worse than that.
Right on. And then last up was Nobody, which just came out in theaters at the time of recording. It's not on VOD yet, so I'm going to have to wait a little bit longer to watch it. But I know you're thinking about maybe heading out as your first movie back, right?
I think it's going to be a perfect first movie back. It's only 90 minutes. It's super crazy actiony. It's going to be really fun. And next month we'll talk about it because I think that is my idea. That should be my first movie back in the theater.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, let's start talking about April. There's a lot of movies coming out, and we're going to start off with Shiva Baby, a movie I've been looking forward to for a while. It'll be out the day this goes up, actually, in theaters and on VOD. It's about a college student who runs into her sugar daddy at a Shiva and is trying to hide this information from her very annoying and overbearing family. Written and directed by Emma Seligman, starring Rachel Sennett, and I think looks great. What do you think about this one?
I think it looks great too. I mean, this is a real renaissance of Jewish American cinema right now,
Very
right?
much.
You got you and we have Shiva Baby, we have Donnie's Bar Mitzvah, we have the horror movie that it took place in a Shiva, right?
The Vigil, yeah, great movie,
right? Not to say that Jewish people like us haven't been involved in cinema in a long time, but they're really getting deep on the Jewish rituals and stuff like that in some of these movies. And this looks just funny and interesting, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, that's funny to call for Jewish representation in movies.
Right. Yeah, on screen this time.
Yes, that's right. So what do you got for some pieces for this one?
Well, the first one, and the tone is different, but I think both you and I really like this movie. And when you talk about Jewish movies and death, I go to Dust.
Sure.
The great movie with Matthew Broderick. And you'll have to tell me the co-star's name. He's very good.
Geezer Roerig. Yeah.
Yeah. He's really good, man.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a great movie about a Orthodox Jewish man who his wife dies, and he doesn't think that they've buried her in the right place for her to achieve eternal peace, and he enlists this college professor to help him, find out if they have, and it kind of goes from there. And that's a great movie.
Yeah.
The other one, here's a movie I bet you don't know, Breaking Upwards. Have you ever seen that?
I haven't. No, I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, it was an indie film from, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, and it's about a couple that decides they want to kind of break up, but kind of not break up. So on every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they're a couple. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, they're free to do what they want type thing. And there is a big scene with a big Jewish American family, and kind of all this mayhem and misfortune in a humorous way occurs. So it kind of brought that to me. And lastly, I would say Tiny Furniture, the Lena Dunham movie. It kind of had that very New York feel of generations judging other generations.
Sure, yeah. I forgot about that movie, but yeah, that would be a good one too. I'll throw in there Curb Your Enthusiasm. A lot of just really cringy awkwardness and Jewish humor, of course, and Larry David getting himself into these situations where he's being judged by everybody and doing the wrong things always. And then also definitely a little bit of a different tone, but The Guilt Trip. With Seth Rogen and Barbra Streisand, and just, dealing with overbearing Jewish relatives, basically.
All right. Well, my favorite episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm is, of course, when he has to deal with his sugar daddy. So,
yes, absolutely.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Breaking Upwards, directed by Daryl Ween.
Okay.
Something to look for.
Oh, and one other point to that trailer. Obviously, it's going to be a very, very, very different movie, but just the way the trailer was cut reminded me a little bit of the trailer to Darren Aronofsky's Mother, with that just creepiness and that really just awkwardness to everything going on. It gets worse and worse as it goes. So, yeah, great trailer.
See that, sure.
So let's move on to another movie that's coming out today as this goes up, and that's Concrete Cowboy on Netflix. And this one stars Idris Elba. It's based on the Fletcher Street Cowboys, and it's just about this very different version of what we've seen in the past of cowboys. And what do you think about this one?
I am very interested in it. I mean, I think I've seen on Parts Unknown with Anthony Bourdain, he interviewed the Fletcher Street Cowboys, so that
Yeah.
was a really cool segment. And Idris Elba, we know, is like top of the game right there,
Oh yeah,
right?
definitely.
So yeah, I'm interested to watch it. I think it's going to be a good film.
What do you got for some pieces?
Well, you know, when you think of an African American cowboy, you think of the all-time great comedic African American cowboy, Cleavon Little in Blazing Saddles.
Sure.
And obviously, this has nothing to do with that tonally, but I always, anytime we can bring up Blazing Saddles, we should, you know?
Oh yeah. Well, they sit around a campfire and make jokes, so why not?
There you go. There you go. And then the other that one I thought of was the Mario Van Peebles movie Posse, which is all about black cowboys.
Sure.
And it's probably something I haven't seen in 20 years, and it's probably worth rewatching at this point.
Right on. Yeah, no, those are great great picks there. I was going to combine The Mustang and The Rider, two movies about kind of rehabilitating yourself and moving forward and like changes in your lifestyle. And it seems like Idris Elba's son in this movie is on a bad path, but this whole cowboy lifestyle and horses and all that is going to help put him on a better path. And then this one is probably very out there and incorrect, but I thought of, because of the father-son relationship, I thought of The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, because, you know, Bill Murray takes in Owen Wilson in that movie, his long-lost son, and he's got his very different kind of little group of people that he's bringing him into, but as far as outside of that group of people, is very kind of estranged from the rest of the world, and so it's kind of like just this unique setting to take this person and kind of give him new purpose. And so I just thought that kind of father-son relationship, I was trying to think of an example of that, and that's the only one I connected to.
Possibly the whitest filmmaker around, Wes Anderson.
That's right.
And you took his movie about a submarine crew.
Yes.
And you compared it to black cowboys living in the inner city.
I'm going to say I did a pretty good job, though. Oh, man. All right, let's move on to the following week, also on Netflix. As there's always a lot of Netflix movies on these lists. This is Thunder Force, coming out April 9th. Stars Melissa McCarthy and Octavia Spencer as two middle-aged female superheroes that are just regular people who get superpowers, and lots of comic hijinks ensue. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, I want it to be good. The preview looks funny. I love that it's Melissa McCarthy and Octavia Spencer. You know, they're older than a lot of the kind of female leading women that you would think of maybe for this, and obviously they look like normal people, which is part of their appeal, right? So
yeah, for sure.
I really hope it's good, because I want to see more stuff like that. You know,
definitely.
So, you know, when you think of Melissa McCarthy, buddy comedy, and you go to The Heat right away, which is a very funny movie.
Sure.
Her and Sandra Bullock. And then when I think of superheroes who are just normal people, I guess in this regard, in Thunder Force, they get powers, but I was thinking of just superheroes who are normal people, and that brought me to Kick-Ass.
Sure. Yeah, okay. Well, superheroes who are just normal people, I thought of Mystery Men, the comedy from 1999. Ben Stiller, Janine Garofalo, William H. Macy. Great cast. Not the best movie. It's got its moments.
I don't want to think about that movie. Yeah.
Well,
isn't Kel in that movie?
God, I don't remember. I haven't seen it since back then. But I also, you know, as far as superhero movies are concerned, I thought of Ant-Man, just, you know, mixing a lot of like high-tech stuff with just regular people, and the high-tech stuff makes them into superheroes. So I just thought, as far as modern superhero movies go, it's kind of the closest thing we've got.
All right.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Very good. All right, let's move on to Voyagers, which will only be hitting theaters for now. That's on April 9th. Written and directed by Neil Berger, who made Limitless, and it stars Ty Sheridan, Lily Rose Depp, and Colin Farrell. It's set on a spaceship where a new generation of kids are being grown and basically trained for continuing humanity on a new planet. And then it starts to come out that there's some experiments happening and they're being drugged by the people in charge, and the kids start to revolt. And looks interesting. What do you think about this one?
It does seem like we're getting a lot of spaceship movies coming out in
Yeah,
basically since December or sometime in the middle of last year. It seems like there's been a spaceship movie every month for us to talk about, doesn't it?
yeah. They could even be reusing the same ship just to save money. You wouldn't
That's
even
not a
notice.
bad idea.
Yeah,
Whatever it takes.
yeah,
I
for
agree
sure.
with. I mean, it looks interesting. I'm hoping it's good, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So the movies that I thought of were one I thought of, and then we might have mentioned this on another one. Never Let Me Go. Did we ever talk about that movie?
I think we did once. Yeah, I don't remember which episode it was.
Carey Mulligan, Andrew Garfield, and I'm forgetting the third star, but basically, children are kind of farmed, shall we say?
Sure.
They're kind of sourced, and these people play like they're doubles. So if anything goes wrong with the real children, then they can just harvest the organs of the doubles,
Yeah,
and kind of help them live longer. And then this kind of has that feel of like, hey, we're harvesting children and we're sending them to space and we're controlling them so they can kind of prolong the species, right?
sure.
And then, of course, when you think of that, you think of the great sci-fi drama Gattaca, which is about a man who has his own physical ailments and he's trying to become more physically superior so he can go to outer space.
Yeah, I never actually saw Gattaca, believe it or not.
We should watch it. That would be a good piecing it together,
Yeah, I'm down. I gotta
breaking
watch
it
that.
apart. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, one of those things. Well, for my pieces, I thought of Passengers, the Chris Pratt, Jennifer Lawrence sci-fi bomb, where they wake up early on a spaceship and have to spend the rest of their lives on the ship because there's no way to go back to sleep. And it turns out there's this darker secret behind the
Yeah.
mission and why they woke up. So I thought that seems like a good fit there. Also, Lord of the Flies. These kids all just kind of running rampant on that ship. And last but not least, I don't really know how to describe this one, but I saw a lot of people online comparing this movie to this. There's a game that's very popular, a multiplayer online game called Among Us, where it's all regular people playing. It's not you're playing against a computer or anything like that. And you don't know who is really who they say they are, and they have to find out who the imposter is. And I don't know, I've never played this game, but apparently people are saying that this is like a movie version of this game. So I figured I'd
I
bring it
don't
up.
I don't know the game, but I do think that like stuff like that is probably accurate because what we didn't hit on is like that they're like kind of controlling what goes in and out of these kids' bodies. So like
Hmm.
the kids eventually figure that out and like kind of realize, oh, if we don't take this, then we have these new emotions and stuff like that.
Right.
And that brought me to like Euphoria and Spring Breakers and just party stuff. But
Oh yeah,
you
for
know,
sure. Yeah, it
you
looks like
know,
it's gonna get a lot of that kind of energy going on once shit hits the fan in this movie. So
yeah.
yeah. All right, so next up, April 9th, hitting theaters and VOD the same day. It's called Moffie, and it is from South African director Oliver Hermanus about gay soldiers, and looks like a very heavy, dark drama, but it's kind of a war story that hasn't been told before, not like this anyway, and also kind of a gay story that hasn't been told before, not like this. So, what do you think about this one?
At first, I didn't really. I mean, the trailer actually picks up about a minute in, but I get it. Like you're like kind of giving the background.
Mhm.
I think it looks interesting. I would watch
Definitely.
this movie. I'm interested to see it.
Yeah.
So,
What do you think
um,
as far as pieces?
well, first I was happy that they they played "Searching for Sugar Man" in there, the Rodriguez song. But they remade it. But if you've seen the movie "Searching for Sugar Man," then you realize how much of an impact that song had on that country. So I was happy about that. Not really a puzzle piece, but I wanted to bring that up. When I think of kind of there's a lot of like barracks and basic training stuff, and you always go back to like Full Metal Jacket for the most intense and iconic basic training stuff. And then of course, two soldiers hiding their sexuality. One at one point even says, "I'm not like you," and that I think is an exact line from Brokeback Mountain.
Sure.
So that's where I went.
I think this is the first time this has happened on one of these trailer episodes, but those were the exact two pieces I had as well.
Whoa.
Yeah, Full Metal Jacket, Brokeback Mountain, but exactly what you're saying there. I think as far as Full Metal Jacket's concerned, I mean, it's an easy comparison. I mean, seeing the harshness that it seems like they're going to depict of that army life, and then Brokeback Mountain, I mean, taking that kind of gay coming out or self-discovery story and placing it in a different kind of a setting, a different kind of world. I think it's a pretty easy comparison to make there. And yeah, I think it's a really interesting looking movie. Definitely looking forward to it. So next up is another Netflix movie, April 22nd. It's called Stowaway. Written and directed by Joe Penna, who did Arctic with Mads Mikkelsen, which I know a lot of people loved. I never actually saw that. But yeah, stars Anna Kendrick, Toni Collette, and it's about a guy who accidentally stowaways on a ship heading to Mars. Like you said, a lot of space movies happening right now.
Yeah, that could be Passengers, right?
Yeah, for sure. That too. I don't exactly understand how you can accidentally stowaway though, but I guess we'll find out in the movie. But it seems like a pretty straight up sci-fi survival film. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, from what I could tell, the way he stowed away, he was an engineer, and he kind of passed out in some area of the ship before they launched, and then they launched,
Right.
and then they were like, "Oh, whoa, what's up with that?" But it's amazing if that is the reason that he was able to survive going into space without like any, I don't know, equipment.
Yeah, I would imagine he'd be bouncing around like a pinball on the takeoff.
Spacesuit, whatever, those things. Yeah, I'm happy Anna Kendrick is doing something serious for the first time in a while, for what seems like a while.
Yeah,
because she's so talented. But I feel like she, it's like I don't need to see her in another crappy buddy or rom-com movie.
Right.
I would be happy to see her in a good one, but whatever. So Gravity, obviously is going to come up, and why shouldn't it? Because like that movie is just mesmerizing with all the stuff they do in outer space, and there is an element of like teaching and kind of having to learn because this guy did accidentally get into space, right?
Sure.
So, and then the other thing I thought of, which is maybe my favorite stowaway movie, Up.
Okay, yeah, sure, why not?
Where the boy stows away.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's funny. It's funny you bring Up to it because I was trying to think of good stowaway movies to put on the list. I couldn't even think of any, so I'm glad we got Up on there. To go right along with Gravity, though, another great sci-fi survival movie, The Martian. That one I think fits really well with Matt Damon. Also Ad Astra, I thought a little bit. Seems like they'll probably be getting into some bigger themes. I can't imagine that it's just simply surviving. I imagine there's probably other things going on, especially with such a big cast. I only mentioned Anna Kendrick and Toni Collette, but this movie seems to have a huge cast, a lot of characters in it, for a confined space movie. So yeah, those are my other pieces. But yeah, I think Gravity, we both have on our list. That is definitely a big one.
You should keep a list of all the space movies that have come out or are coming out in the last year going forward, and then we can rank them.
Okay, ranking space movies. That would be really tough because of the very subtle differences between a lot of them. That would be tough, but I'm down. Let's do it.
Yeah, not our first. I mean, I think we've done a space movie almost every month on this show.
Yeah, it sure seems like it. So, last one for our April trailers is Without Remorse, or Tom Clancy's Without Remorse, hitting Amazon Prime on April 30th. It's a Tom Clancy movie written by Taylor Sheridan, starring Michael B. Jordan. It's a spinoff of the Jack Ryan series about a Navy SEAL who uncovers a whole government conspiracy while seeking justice for the murder of his wife. Looks completely straightforward as far as action movies go. I honestly don't think it looks that good, but I mean, Michael B. Jordan, hit or miss. I like him in a lot of things. What do you think about this one?
I'm shocked that you didn't think this looks good. I feel like this is like right up our alley of just like, here's the simple plot. Now I'm gonna go get revenge and mess everybody up in the worst way possible. Plus Taylor Sheridan, come on, dude.
That's the thing. Taylor Sheridan writing it really does make me think like maybe this is better than the trailer lets on. But yeah, it just looks so straightforward that I was just kind of like I want it to be over the top more or something. Really wow me.
I'm all in on this. I think
All
of
right.
all the movies we've talked about this month, like I have no Shiva Baby. I'm most excited about, I'd say, but
Sure.
this looks great in that kind of straightforward. Like, I mean, it's a higher budget, but it's grindhouse in the kind of concept of just a revenge movie, and he's gonna mess everyone. He's gonna kill everyone, and
Yeah.
it looks good. I don't know. Me and you just saw this one differently.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. I mean, obviously, it's the Born Identity without the memory loss, right?
Definitely.
And then when you go to revenge because they killed my family, that could be any number of movies. I chose The Punisher.
Sure.
And those were the two that I went with. But I'm excited for this movie, Dave.
Okay. Well, you know what? You got me a little more excited for it. Definitely the Bourne franchise is the number one influence. That was definitely my first pick as well. Punisher works, John Wick maybe, hopefully. I would say hopefully John Wick because I want this character, this Michael B. Jordan character, to really just go nuts on these people. And if he does, then maybe I will end up liking this more than I thought. So I'll definitely be watching. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Well, you don't have anything else to do with your life, so why not?
You know what? You make a really good point, Jason. So that does it for this month's trailers. There's a bunch more coming. Of course, I kind of cut out of our list some of the big theatrical movies like Godzilla vs. Kong and Mortal Kombat. I mean, there's a lot coming out in April, but I am looking forward to it all. Is there something you watched recently that you'd like to recommend to our listeners?
I'll mention two things. One, we will have an episode out on it on the 2003 awesome movie year. It was very fun to rewatch American Splendor, Paul Giamatti playing Harvey Picar. Just a wonderful, wonderful time to watch that movie.
Great movie.
Yeah. And then I just watched this little British miniseries that I love a lot of foreign television. This one was a huge hit during the pandemic. It's called Quiz. It's 3 episodes, about 50 minutes each, and it's about a military major in Great Britain who might have cheated his way to $1 million on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It's based on a true story, and just awesome. Just really good stuff.
That sounds really fun. I'm going to have to check that out. But right on, yeah, you got a little mini plug in there in the recommendation, but why don't you give a full-fledged plug for what's going on over on Awesome Movie here?
We're in the middle of 2003, and obviously that is a big year for Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. But there are so many other good movies of that year that we're covering. We have City of God. We have some under-the-radar stuff, Down with Love. We have big comedies like you like, Dave, with Old School. And like I said, it's just a really good year. We just released The Fog of War, which is a documentary that I think people should definitely watch. And I think this is turning out to be a season we might not have kind of known the theme going into, but it just turned out to be an awesome movie year.
That is a good theme for the season to have, for sure. Well, right on, Jason. Thank you, as always, for doing the trailer episode, and look forward to getting you on a regular one of these days soon. Maybe we'll do Shiva Baby.
That sounds like fun, Dave. We already missed our time for boss level, so
yeah,
we got to catch up on something.
Yeah.
Keep it up, Dave. There's 4 people who really count on you.
Hey everybody, this is Dino,
And Michelle.
and we're bringing you our podcast.
Huh?
Podcast.
Okay.
What do we do with our podcast?
Think a little bit of everything.
We got faith, family, horror movies,
TV, kids.
social media ridiculousness. We've got the most important message,
Be decent to each other.
all wrapped up in a little hour-long or so chunk. You can reach us at gangalley.com, like a gang.
In an alley.
You can reach us on all your favorite pod chasers. We've got a Facebook group, a Twitter feed, and
Yeah, that's us.
that's us, our podcast. All right, guys. Have a good one. Peace.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that conversation about the movies coming out in April of 2021. There's, of course, lots of other movies that we could have covered. At the time of this going up, I'm getting my second vaccine this weekend, and that means that in 2 weeks, the middle of April 18th to be exact, I am going back to the movie theater. I'm sure Jason's already back, but I'm going to get to go back. April 18th. Godzilla vs. Kong, it's happening. I think that's the same weekend that Mortal Kombat actually comes out, so I guess I'll probably go on April 19th to see that. Yeah, I can't wait, guys. I can't believe that it's been over a year since I've been to the theater, and I can't believe I'm actually going to get to go back. It's going to be really weird, let's just say, but I am looking forward to it. And so, yeah, we got plenty of movies to cover, plenty of movies to see. I'll still be seeing plenty at home as well. That is kind of a new normal, I think. But going back to the theater is going to be nice. So look forward to all that new piecing it together coming your way soon. Check it out wherever you listen to podcasts, wherever you're listening to it right now. You can subscribe right there. And you can share the show if you like what you're hearing, if you like what we're doing, if you want to help support what we're doing, share it. That's really the best way. You know, I told you at the top of the show, there's a Produced by David Rosen Patreon, and I definitely appreciate anyone who signs up for that. That's incredible. But the number one best thing you could do is just share the show. So if you like what we're doing, share it. And thank you so much for that. You could also rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser. You can also follow us on social media at Piecing Pod. Join the Facebook group Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces. But most of all, just share the show. We appreciate it so much. So, lots more piecing it together coming your way. As you know, I always close out all of these episodes with a piece of music. And as it turns out, today, this is going up April 2nd. I'm recording it about a week ago. But this is going up April 2nd. And today, I am releasing a brand new song called Destined for Greatness. It's a single. It will be available on iTunes and Spotify. It should be up if all goes well. It should be up today. But you never know. It could take a little while. But the release date is listed for today. So hopefully it's up. But it's not technically a new song. This is actually a piece that I made for a little short film a couple years ago. And I had the idea for a while to release it as its own standalone, just single release because it's just a really cool piece of music. But I always wanted to kind of revise it and just do a few things to it that didn't make sense in the context of the film that it was being used in, and just build it up into more of a song. And I finally just did that, and now it's out, and this will be a little, single to kind of go between albums. I've told you that I'm working on my next album right now. My most recent album, of course, is David Rosen, the self-titled album that came out in October, so check that out if you haven't yet. But I'm very excited that before my next album gets announced and released and all that stuff, now there's a brand new single for you to check out. So go check out Destined for Greatness on all of the streaming services, or if you want to buy it, you can find it on iTunes. And as a listener of Piecing It Together, you get to hear it right now. So here is Destined for Greatness, and thanks for listening, and we'll be back with more Piecing It Together coming up real soon.
An All Points West production, produced by David Rosen in Las Vegas.